this video we're going to talk about point-slope form. In the past we've dealt with slope-intercept form and the standard form of a linear equation. This is the third type that we're going to look at. It still gives you a straight line on a graph. In this case you're going to end up with a point which you're going to see the y and x. So x1, y1 is your point. Okay? And then as you look at this, m is in front of that quantity, and m is slope. So as I look at that, it's red, y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity of x minus x1. So in this example, y minus 4 equals 2 times the quantity of x minus 3. You can see that the slope is 2. You're going to also see that we have a point, the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. So our point is 3, 4. Noticing that those are both positive, even though it says minus 4. Noticing that above that, you can see that the generic or the general form is y minus y1, and that y1 is a positive value. And so in this case, the point is 3, 4. So we're going to write our own equation based on 2 points. The first thing you need to do when you look at that is find the slope. And you want to start using the slope formula. The slope formula ends up being y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Now I could also have rewritten that as y1 minus y2 all over x1 minus x2. However, this is the way I want to look at it. So I'm going to take 5 minus negative 4. So the slope, or my m, is equal to 5 minus negative 4 all over the difference in the x's, which is negative 3 minus 6. So I'm going to reduce that. And 5 minus negative 4 is going to become plus. So 5 plus 4 is 9. Divided by negative 3 minus 6, which is negative 9. And when I simplify that, I get negative 1. Now I can use either of the points to rewrite my equation. And I can rewrite that using equation number 1, or using point number 1, y minus, I'm going to put the equal to sign, x minus, and I'm going to fill in the parts. So the parts come from the point. The first point has negative 4 as y, and it has 6 as x. So where the y is, I'm going to put negative 4 there, and where the x should go, I'm going to put a positive 6 there. And then I have to fill in the slope being negative 1. Now you can rewrite that if you would like to as y plus 4 equals negative 1 times the quantity x minus 6. Those are equivalent. I could also just write it as a negative sign in front of the parentheses. I don't have to have that 1 there. I could have also have written it with the second set of points. So I could have written y minus, do the same thing that I had done before. Only now we're going to use the x and y from the second point. So I'm going to put 5 in here, and I'm going to put negative 3 in for the x, and I'm still going to put negative 1 as my slope. The two equations, one above and one below, are equivalent. They are the same line. So if I were to graph both of those lines, they would still be the same exact thing. So now let's look at your reteaching, which is what we handed out today. You're going to graph the line through the given points and then follow the steps that they have above. You can follow the steps that I just went over. So what we're going to do is I want you to graph this first. So you're going to graph these 2 points. So in this case, I'm just going to do number 1 for you. You can pause this video at any point and also put in put this on your own paper. So you should be writing this down. You do get points for this. So I'm going to graph 6, 4. So I move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 4. There's There's my first point, and then 4, 3. There's my second point. Now I can connect those dots as best I can with a straight line. You can probably do better with a ruler. And so now, as I look at that, I'm going to notice, if I drew it correctly, what the y-intercept is. However, I'm not going to put this in slope-intercept form. I'm going to put this in point-slope form, which means that I need to find the slope. You can do that using the graph, or I can set up the same thing that we did in the previous screen. So I'm going to do 3 minus 4 all over 4 minus 6. And you're going to notice that this does have a positive slope because it goes up from left to right. However, when I subtract these two things, I end up with a negative over a negative, which is a positive slope of 1/2. And now I just plug in the slope and a point into my equation. Again, you can always start off with these openings and then you're just plugging things in. So now I want to put my slope 1/2 in its correct place. I'm going to choose the first point. Here's my x. So 6 is my x, y is 4. So I'm going to put 4 in after the y and put 6 in after the x. So now my equation for that line is y minus 4 equals 1/2 times the quantity of x minus 6. Do the same thing for the second part of your reteaching, only this time you do not need to graph them. So only 1 through 4 do you need to graph. In this case, you're going to do number 5, so we'll do number 5 together as well, starting with the slope. -7 minus -5 all over 0 minus 2. And when I rewrite that, the negatives become positive, so I end up with a -2 all over -2, giving me a slope of +1. Again, I write the general form, leaving blanks in the areas where I'm going to fill it in. So I put my slope. I don't have to write the 1 because anything times 1 is just itself. However, for our purposes, I want you to see the slope. And then I'm going to put in the x and the y. The x that I'm going to put in will be 2, and the y will be -5. So the y, put the -5 in here, the x, put the x there. Again, you can rewrite this as y plus 5 equals 1 times the quantity of x minus 2. You could also rewrite it as y plus 5 equals x minus 2 without the slope. However, all of these are still the same. You could have also used the second point to write that equation, and again, that just means that they are equivalent. They're just looking a little bit different.